All right. Hey, class, let's talk about bar graphs. Alrighty. So for right now, let's skip slides so you can see exactly what we're going to be working with. So you're going to go out and get out of your packet this graph, and then it has questions with it. So then there's a paper that has questions 1, 2, and 3, and questions 4 and 5. So pause this video and get out of your packet that you, I don't know, got about 2 weeks ago, and get out this graphing worksheet, okay? And then come on back. All right, hopefully you have what you need, and we're going to get started. So let's just chat real quick about what a bar graph gives us. And I apologize because this was meant to be interactive, so you'll just have to discuss with the person sitting next to you if you have an adult helping you, okay? So what does a bar graph give us? Does it give us email addresses or information? It gives us information. What kind of information? Well, let's brainstorm. So let's see if you can think of some examples. Graphs and charts, they give us information, but they also help demonstrate trends and patterns in information. So some examples that I thought of were COVID-19 cases. So thinking about what's going on in the world right now. When you watch the news, you might see a graph or chart showing you positive cases or negative cases. You could also see that with the flu or something else that we have that happens kind of every year. Like, well, I don't know if they do it with colds, but definitely flu. When we have flu cases, we see those in charts. You also might see charts and graphs when you're budgeting your money. What if you want to put in a graph how much you spent last week on groceries, how much you spend this week on groceries, and how much you should be spending on groceries, so you can see that information compared. Also, any of your grades. So Ms. McIntosh uses charts and graphs, and of course you have seen those when you do a benchmark. You see a line graph that shows you your scores, whether it went up, went down, it stayed the same, okay? Lots of different things in everyday world where you see a chart or graph. And I wanted to talk about that because we do a lot of graphing. It's part of our curriculum. But why? Why do we need to learn how to do graphs and answer questions? Well, here's some of the reasons why. So can you think of any other examples? If we were live together, I'd have you writing them on the screen. So for now, I want you to write down, can you think of any other examples of when you would see a chart or graph? And then share it with me next time I see you, okay? So for today, the graph that we're going to look at is talking about how students use their cell phones. How do students use their cell phones? And your job is going to be to read that information on the bar graph and answer those 5 questions, okay? So let's look at the graph first. What kinds of things do you see on this graph? And I have a couple arrows helping us out. So pause this and just out loud tell me all the things, or tell yourself all the things because I can't hear you, all the things that you see on this graph. Hopefully you paused and you took some time to think because I don't want to give you all the answers. All right, let's look at these different arrows, okay? And pause if you're not done talking about it with an adult helper next to you. What is this arrow pointing to? We always have, what is that pointing to? A title. It always points to a title in the graph. So the title tells us what kind of information are we reading on this graph. So this title is, how do students use their cell phones? Okay. And then we have some more information on this graph. Look down here. This is the scale. This is telling us that each block is exactly 1 student. We see these numbers down here. They symbolize students. So we know each block is worth 1 student. So if this is the number of students, what are these down here? Make video calls, search websites, watch videos. What are these? Well, these are all the ways students use cell phones. These are all the different ways. These are all the different categories that they collected data in for this chart. Okay, so we know we have a title of the chart, or the bar graph, I'm sorry. We have all the different ways that students use cell phones, and I love that. Look, what do you see here? I see words. I also see what? Pictures, and I also see different colors. The colors help us read this graph more effectively. When you have colors, it's so much easier to read a graph. When you have pictures, it's so much easier to help read those words. So this graph is very user-friendly. It's very easy to read, okay? All right, so you're going to use this graph and you're going to answer the 5 questions that go with it. So I don't want to answer them with you. Let's do the first 2 together. And then the last 3 you do on your own. How about that? Okay, so let's look at the first question together. First question reads, how many? You know what? I can't help myself. I need to go ahead and draw attention to this right here. How many? Who remembers from all my lessons, when we ask how many, what are we looking for? What kind of answer? We're looking for a number. So it's asking how many students use their cell phones to play games. How many students use their cell phones to play games? All right, well, let's go back and look on our graph, which you have on the top of your sheet. We're looking at playing games. So first we need to find play games. Do you find it? Here it is. And then we need to look at how many students. Well, remember, these numbers down here are telling us how many students. So we can count, or I can look at this and look at my numbers down here and determine how many. So how many students use their cell phones to play games? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? 4. So we would write that in here. And it really just needs that number because that's what it's asking for. 4. Great job. All right, I promised one more question, so let's do the second question together. Do more. So, is it asking us how many? Do more students use their cell phones to make video calls or take pictures? Do more students use their cell phones to make video calls or take pictures? We are comparing. We want to know which one is more. Which one is the bigger number between these 2 categories? Making video calls or taking pictures. We need to compare these 2, all right? So let's look on our graph. Video calls, let's find that one. Where is video calls? Let me change my color. Making video calls. And what was our second category we're comparing? Taking pictures. So looking at only these 2, we need to compare which one is more. Now, you could look at the colors and just determine which one is more, or we can compare the numbers. So can you identify how many students use it for taking pictures and how many students use it for making video calls? Taking pictures is 7. Making video calls is 5. So which one is more? Which one is the bigger number? 5 or 7? 7. Good job. But it's not asking how many, it's asking which category, which one was more. So when we go to answer, Our question, are we putting 7? No. We're putting what it was 7. Which category? Was it video calls or taking pictures? More students use it to take pictures. You could even give me a complete sentence, which I would love. More students use their cell phones to take pictures, period. Ooh, that's a pretty sentence. Okay? Wasn't asking for how many, it was asking which category. So we always want to be careful of how we read the question. Good job. All right, so you have questions 3, 4, and 5. So let's read them real quick in case you don't have someone there to help you read them. Question 3 is, how many students use their cell phones to search websites? Question 4 is, what do students use their cell phones for the most? And question 5 is, what do students use their cell phones for the least? Which one's the most and which one's the least? So finish questions 3, 4, and 5. Make sure you get on IXL and you are done for math for the day. Super proud of your hard work, and I will see you soon. Great job.